that just got waived because the Fever waited to the very last memento to try to waive anybody. Megan McConnell, goodbye. Kind of a shame, honestly. Looks like she might be a contender. Jessica Timmons, see you later. Kayana Traylor, goodbye. You're out, trapdoored. See ya, out the door, right? And Shatori, by the way, looks like she's on this team. A lot of people are like, why is she not on here?
Alongside the roster news, the Fever's social media team released a mic'd-up video featuring head coach Stephanie White during a practice session. The clip was intended to offer fans a closer look at her coaching style and the energy she brings on the floor. The reception, however, was noticeably mixed. A vocal portion of the fan base pushed back against what they characterized as a deliberate effort to build goodwill toward the coaching staff through promotional content rather than addressing the on-court concerns that have circulated since last season.
Tori, by the way, looks like she's on this team. A lot of people are like, why is she not on here? So this really hasn't been out very long. It just came out, in fact. So there's not a lot of fan response to that. Now we've got the PR campaign. Evelyn DR sent this to me because the Indiana Fever is really trying to pump up Stephanie White these days. Let's see if we can get back in the good graces of the fandom. Stephanie White, off ball. Yeah, okay. So they put out this...
Fan responses pointed to a familiar frustration that the team's marketing efforts are being directed toward figures who are not the primary draw for ticket buyers. The central argument in much of the commentary was that supporter confidence in the coaching staff should be earned through game planning and player development, particularly in how Caitlin Clark is deployed offensively. The concern about Clark being kept away from the ball and stationed on the perimeter rather than functioning as the primary offensive engine has carried over from the previous season and remains one of the more persistent criticisms surrounding the organization. The ticket situation ahead of the season opener against Dallas added another layer to the conversation.
Off ball. Yeah, okay. So they put out this little marketing piece. Speaking of marketing pieces, we'll get to Caitlin Clark and Sophie Cunningham trying to sell tickets in just a second. So Stephanie White up here, mic'd up. Let's go.
Don't be trying to get athletic. Just be bully. Good, yeah, KK. Come on, Yellow. Yeah, tell him, Mike. Come on. Great cut.
Roughly 1,600 to 1,700 seats remained unsold approximately 3 days before tip-off, a stark contrast to the previous 2 seasons, when opening night sold out almost immediately. The team adjusted pricing in response to slower-than-expected demand, a development that observers connected directly to reduced enthusiasm around the coaching direction and how the roster is being utilized. The comparison most frequently raised in fan commentary involved Sandy Brondello, the former New York Liberty head coach who was released last offseason. Brondello had been openly supportive of Clark throughout her career, had experience managing a roster built around multiple high-profile players in a major market, and guided New York to a championship 2 seasons ago.
Great cut. Good. Mismatch. Yes. Good, Dee. Good, Tori. Good. Nice, yes. Good.
Okay. So anyway, I'm not sure what that was supposed to accomplish. Lot of feedback. Some might call this instant regret.
The decision by the Fever's front office to retain Stephanie White rather than pursue someone with Brondello's track record became a recurring reference point for supporters questioning the organization's decision-making. The broader criticism extends to whether the franchise has made the structural moves both in the front office and at the coaching level that would give a talent like Clark the best possible environment to compete for a championship. Those raising concerns noted that the team came remarkably close to the finals last season without Clark for the majority of the postseason, which speaks to the underlying quality of the roster. For many, that near miss only reinforces the argument that a different approach at the coaching level could be the element needed to push the team over the top.
This instant regret. Why does it feel like the Fever are running a full PR campaign for Stephanie White? Instead of promoting the actual players people pay to see. I'm sure she's a nice person, but she is not the franchise superstar, nor do fans pay to watch her. Fans are not stupid. Stop trying to force her on the fan base. We decide if she deserves support once we see the offense and how CC is being used, not parked in a corner.
With the regular season set to begin, the team's performance through the opening stretch of games is expected to serve as an early signal of whether the concerns being voiced by fans have any real foundation, or whether the talent level on the roster is strong enough to carry the team past any perceived limitations in the current system. The Indiana Fever have finalized their cuts, releasing 3 players and settling on a 1-2-woman roster, the same 12 they reportedly committed to back in mid-April, roughly a month before the season opener. While every other organization was evaluating talent through preseason competition and making decisions accordingly, Indiana had essentially locked in their roster weeks in advance. The 3 departures, Megan McConnell, Gonzo, and Jessica Simmons, were anticipated.
Parked in a corner, getting iced out again. Stop trying to manufacture approval through nonstop propaganda videos and put that energy into the product and on the court instead. Damn. D-Zam, shiznit. Wow. Crushed. You still don't get why your ticket prices were dropped. Wow. Yeah, the ticket prices coming up a little light, folks. They are. Yeah.
None of them were serious candidates for a permanent spot. McConnell is the closest to WNBA ready among the group, and even she falls short of that threshold. What is frustrating about the entire exercise is that all 3 training camp additions were low-ceiling options from the start. The organization brought in players who posed no competitive threat to anyone already on the roster.
A little light, folks. They are. Yeah. Mostly cheerleading. Need a Mike Ditka woman coach out there. Okay. Guys, you remember when your boy went out there? Remember when Sandy Brondello was fired? And I came on here and was like, the Fever need to go get her like right now, immediately. She had all this experience. Number one, she adores Caitlin Clark and has been very vocal about that. Adores her. Number two, used to dealing with superstars in a high-profile setting.
There was no genuine competition for spots. No one pushed the established players. That is a deliberate organizational choice, and it reflects poorly on the process. Demi Dantis, notably, survived the cuts despite being a questionable roster decision herself.
In a high-profile setting, up in New York, Sabrina, Brianna, Jonquel Jones, all on the same team. Won a championship 2 years ago. Nah, the Indiana Fever's not doing that. Also, I said, why don't you hire some NBA front office people, including an NBA coach? No, can't do that either. This year, I no longer follow the Fever. Why? Because of the coach and the front office. I can't say this has happened for me.
The reasoning is not difficult to follow. Dantis can knock down shots occasionally and carries the appearance of size. But Chloe Bailey, who was recently moved for essentially nothing, is a meaningfully better player than Dantis and would have addressed a real need. That opportunity was passed over. The developmental roster spots are where the situation becomes genuinely difficult to defend.
They're not good enough. They're just not. McConnell is the most WNBA ready, and she's not WNBA ready. None of these 3 are even close to being good enough. But not Dantis. You cannot cut Dantis without bringing somebody in. Because at least Dantis can shoot a little bit, and she has the illusion of being a tall player. Like, again, Chloe Bibby is significantly better than Dantis.
If any of the 3 released players ends up filling one of those slots, it signals that the front office has stopped putting in serious effort. There are easily 20 players currently available, conservative estimate, who would represent a better use of a developmental contract than anyone just waived. Maddie Westbeld, Natasha Lattimore, Sheskiela Burns, Jalen Sherrod, Ashton Perchal, Raya Marshall, Amy Okonkwo. These are names that should be on Indiana's radar right now. Several of them have already cleared waivers from other rosters and are sitting there waiting to be claimed.
Dantis, and she just got traded for nothing. They just traded her for nothing. So we could have Chloe Bibby back, but nah, they chose Dantis. But in order to make second developmental spot. If any of these three players make the dev spot, the Indiana Fever are absolutely, positively, completely unserious. Completely unserious. I am off the top of my head.
The Fever should be filing paperwork on Ashton Perkal today. That is what a front office operating with urgency looks like. Instead, the conversation has drifted toward whether Jessica Timmons or Shadoria Walker-Kimbrough gets the developmental nod, two players who are not the answer to anything. Timmons is not a bad person, but she represents an archetype the roster already has in excess.
My head. I reckon I can name 20 players for dev spots that are better than these. There might be 20. And that's me, like, undershooting it. Maddie Westbeld, Aisha Koulibaly, Natasha Lattimore. Chicago can't take them all. Shea Chesky, Yargen Garzon.
The fact that she connected on a few shots in Game 1 does not change her long-term projection. Kiana Traylor, for her part, looked overwhelmed during her preseason run. There were moves available earlier in the offseason that never happened. Emma Struckor could have been secured back in October.
Yargen Garzon. What's her name? Ashton Prechtel. I'm just trying to think who's been cut. Who has been cut from teams? Obviously. I take fucking Layla Felia. Taylor Theory might not make a team. If they call up one of these players, it is just, we don't care. We've done.
Pauline Villeneuve was a realistic target, and she is now penciled in as a starter for the New York Liberty. Leah Tuis-King is available right now and is a better fit for what Indiana needs than anyone currently in the developmental picture. She can operate at the 3 or 4, competes hard, and brings genuine versatility. Madison Scott is another name that fits the profile better than the current options. The developmental slot situation is further complicated by a reported organizational philosophy. Indiana apparently views the developmental contract as a pure development tool with no actual pathway to the active roster.
These players, it is just, we don't care. We've done our job. It is just from a GM perspective. Oh yeah, you know what? We did 8 days of work and we're not doing any more. We did 8 days of work. Because, like, the Indiana Fever should currently be claiming Ashton Prechtel off waivers. They should. That is what they should currently be doing. Ashton Prechtel, Maddie Westbeld, or Aisha Koulibaly.
Under that framework,
one of those has to be claimed off waivers. Absolutely, one of them has to be claimed off waivers. It is ridiculous. And again, they should have been out there signing Emma Chikova. They should have had Emma Chikova locked up in October. They should have been out there not worrying too much about things and considering signing Pauline Astier, who, by the way, is going to be starting for the New York Liberty. It is one of those things where they were obviously getting rid of these.
those situations were fortunate. Replicating them is not a strategy. Those players are older now, their availability is less certain, and some of them, Sims included, may be in starting conversations elsewhere. Counting on that kind of luck to fill gaps a second time is not roster construction.
It is one of those things where they were obviously getting rid of these. It's not even a question. They were obviously, and also, Leah 2 King's available. Leah 2 King is significantly better than all of these players for what the Fever need. She can kind of play the 4, she can kind of play the 3, and she plays hard. Madison Scott is better than these players. She's a bigger wing. Like, CC made the cut. Yeah. I hope you're bringing back Jessica on a developmental contract. Based on what? Jessica Timmons is not very good. She takes...
It is hoping the same door opens twice. The developmental decision is the clearest window into how seriously this front office is approaching depth. Claiming a player like Raya Marshall, who at minimum offers size and a specific skill set, would be more defensible than handing the spot to someone simply because they spent 3 weeks at training camp. The question of who gets that final developmental slot should not be this complicated, given what is currently available on the waiver wire.
Jessica on a developmental contract. Based on what? Jessica Timmons is not very good. She takes 85 dribbles to go from point A to point B. Like, she's not good. Jessica Timmons just hit a couple of shots in game one. There's a difference between projecting to be a good player and hitting a few shots. Kiana Traylor looked like she didn't know how to play basketball. Like, if the Indiana Fever give their developmental slot to somebody, why? Because they were with the team in preseason. Just because you did a really shitty job in the third round, and no offense to Jessica Timmons, because she's not that bad a player, but